Simon, Simon, indeed Satan has asked for you, that he may sift you as wheat. But I have prayed for you, that your faith should not fail. And when you have returned to me, strengthen your brethren.
Lord, I am ready to go with you, both to prison and to death.
I tell you, Peter, the rooster shall not crow this day before you will deny 3 times that you know me.
And he said to them,
When I sent you without money bag, knapsack, and sandals, did you lack anything?
Nothing.
But now, he who has a money bag, let him take it, and likewise a knapsack. And he who has no sword, let him sell his garment and buy one. For I say to you, that this which is written must still be accomplished in me. And he was numbered with the transgressors. For the things concerning me have an end.
Lord, look. Here are 2 swords.
It is enough.
Coming out, he went to the Mount of Olives, as he was accustomed, and his disciples also followed him.
Pray that you may not enter into temptation.
And he was withdrawn from them about a stone's throw, and he knelt down and prayed.
Father, if it is your will, take this cup away from me. Nevertheless, not my will, but yours be done.
Then an angel appeared to him from heaven, strengthening him, and being in agony, he prayed more earnestly. Then his sweat became like great drops of blood falling down to the ground. When he rose up from prayer and had come to his disciples, he found them sleeping from sorrow.
Why do you sleep? Rise and pray, lest you enter into temptation.
And while he was still speaking, behold, a multitude, and he who was called Judas, one of the 12, went before them and drew near to Jesus to kiss him.
Judas, are you betraying the Son of Man with a kiss?
When those around him saw what was going to happen, they said to him,
Lord, shall we strike with the sword?
And one of them struck the servant of the high priest and cut off his right ear. But Jesus answered,
Permit even this.
And he touched his ear and healed him. Then Jesus said to the chief priests, captains of the temple, and the elders who had come to him,
Have you come out as against a robber with swords and clubs? When I was with you daily in the temple, you did not try to seize me. But this is your hour, in the power of darkness.
Having arrested him, they led him and brought him into the high priest's house. But Peter followed at a distance. Now when they had kindled a fire in the midst of the courtyard and sat down together, Peter sat among them. And a certain servant girl, seeing him as he sat by the fire, looked intently at him.
This man was also with him.
Woman, I do not know him.
And after a little while, another saw him
You also are of them.
Man, I am not.
Then after about an hour had passed, another confidently affirmed,
Surely this fellow also was with him, for he is a Galilean.
Man, I do not know what you are saying.
Immediately, while he was still speaking, the rooster crowed, and the Lord turned and looked at Peter. Then Peter remembered the word of the Lord, how he had said to him,
Before the rooster crows, you will deny me 3 times.
So Peter went out and wept bitterly. Now the men who held Jesus mocked him and beat him, and having blindfolded him, they struck him on the face and asked him,
Prophesy! Who is the one who struck you?
and many other things they blasphemously spoke against him. As soon as it was day, the elders of the people, both chief priests and scribes, came together and led him into their council.
If you are the Christ, tell us.
If I tell you, you will by no means believe. And if I also ask you, you will by no means answer me or let me go. Hereafter the Son of Man will sit on the right hand of the power of God.
Are you then the Son of God?
You rightly say that I am.
What further testimony do we need? For we have heard it ourselves from his own mouth.
Then the whole multitude of them arose and led him to Pilate. And they began to accuse him.
We found this fellow perverting the nation and forbidding to pay taxes to Caesar, saying that he himself is Christ, a king.
Are you the king of the Jews?
It is as you say.
So Pilate said to the chief priests and the crowd,
I find no fault in this man.
But they were the more fierce.
He stirs up the people, teaching throughout all Judea, beginning from Galilee to this place.
When Pilate heard of Galilee, he asked if the man were a Galilean. And as soon as he knew that he belonged to Herod's jurisdiction, he sent him to Herod, who was also in Jerusalem at that time. Now when Herod saw Jesus, he was exceedingly glad, for he had desired for a long time to see him, because he had heard many things about him, and he hoped to see some miracle done by him. Then he questioned him with many words, but he answered him nothing. And the chief priests and scribes stood and vehemently accused him. Then Herod, with his men of war, treated him with contempt and mocked him, arrayed him in a gorgeous robe, and sent him back to Pilate. That very day, Pilate and Herod became friends with each other, for previously they had been at enmity with each other. Then Pilate, when he had called together the chief priests, the rulers, and the people, said to them,
You have brought this man to me as one who misleads the people. And indeed, having examined him in your presence, I have found no fault in this man concerning those things of which you accuse him. No, neither did Herod, for I sent you back to him. And indeed, nothing deserving of death has been done by him. I will therefore chastise him and release him.
For it was necessary for Pilate to release one to them at the feast. And they all cried out at once,
Away with this man! Away with this man! Release to us Barabbas!
Barabbas had been thrown into prison for a certain rebellion made in the city, and for murder. Pilate, therefore, wishing to release Jesus, again called out to them. But they shouted,
What evil has he done? I have found no reason for death in him. I will therefore chastise him and let him go.
But they were insistent, demanding with loud voices that he be crucified. And the voices of these men and of the chief priests prevailed. So Pilate gave sentence that it should be as they requested. And he released to them the one they requested, who for rebellion and murder had been thrown into prison. But he delivered Jesus to their will.